Hi, I'm here to talk to you guys about policy speech, which containing bottled water not being allowed in school and being allowed in school and just being allowed in general in any other places. Like, for example, when you go to events, obviously they say no foods or drinking allowed, but then again, you always have those certain people that bring bottles and and you always ask in the way where you're curious and you ask, why can't we bring bottled water? It's just water. Many people don't see why you can't, and many people see why you can. For example, bottled water obviously isn't allowed in some schools is because many people think like many people think like when you put in like those little colorish packages in your bottled water, many teachers may suspect that it may not actually be water. It may actually be alcohol. It may actually be Sprite. It may actually be some type of alcohol, like beer, for example. I want to explain to you about back in my day when in high school. There were times where we weren't even able to have any like fluids in our class, like bottled water, Gatorades, or any of that. But we always went to a place called Hula's that sold all that type of stuff. But when we brought it in class, our teacher would say, "Hey, you can't have that in here," or and obviously we would complain about it, saying like, "Why? It's just water," or "Why? It's Gatorade. It's my Gatorade." And obviously the teachers would take it away and they would throw it in the trash, and we asked like, "Why? What? You can't do that." And as I was doing my research, um, I noticed that there was kids complaining, saying like, "What's wrong with having a bottle of water in class? What's wrong with a bottle of water? Period. Having in school in general, many people don't want to drink water from the faucets. Why? Because there could be parasites. Why? Because that water can be water that's not good to drink. It's just tap water that's really not good to drink. That's why many kids are like, hey, I'd rather just bring my own bottle of water. Why is it unfair that I can't have my own bottle of water? But then again, you see like teachers, for example, they be drinking their type of so-called like pop or something that they bring, but you never know. It probably isn't even in pop. But I'm here to talk to you about the policy on between the differences, and obviously tell you what I think and what I'm against and what I'm debating against is, you know, there's many reasons why you shouldn't have bottled water in school, and there's many reasons why you should. Many people aren't ever going to know, or many people aren't going to ever understand. But honestly, having bottled water in school, it helps you function more, especially if you're really thirsty, because obviously when you're in class, you're not going to ask the teacher to go get a drink of water like every like 2 to 5 minutes, because obviously that happens. In high school, I always either took a bottle of water or I went to Hula's and bought a bottle of water, obviously because I was tired, I needed something to wake me up. And obviously in the schools, or anywhere in general, obviously you want to carry a bottle of water. Why? Because it's going to help you function more. It's going to hydrate you more. You don't want to be dehydrated. You at least want to drink about 6 to 8 cups a day of water, because water is what hydrates you. Water is what functions your body. Water is what keeps you going. Obviously, without water, we probably wouldn't live as much, because we really need the thirst. We really need the water. Having Gatorades, pop, all that type of fluids that you see, obviously those function well, especially if you want a NOS or an energy drink. Obviously that's going to function you really well, because it's going to give you really energy. But at the end of the day, do you really want to get all hyper and sugary and all that? So I would suggest water. And now I'm going to talk to you about why why it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed because many people actually don't even take water. They use a sugary package to change the color, and like I said before, they might be either having alcohol, or they might not even, or it might not even be water. It might be alcohol. It might be some type of beer. It might even be pop. And when there's many teachers that don't allow soda in their classes. That's why some people are like, hey, I'm gonna use Sprite because Sprite does look like water. I'm gonna pour it in a bottle. My teacher's not gonna know. They're not gonna know that I'm drinking Sprite. But at the end of the day, if you're a person that's drinking alcohol while you're in your bottle of water, obviously the teacher's gonna know how you act, and it's gonna smell it on you. It's gonna smell your breath if you come up in front of a teacher and start speaking to them. So the differences between banning the bottled water and not banning the bottled water is, I agree with not banning it, just because at the end of the day, it's gonna help kids out. It's gonna help humans out, and water is a special resource on us being able to function better, us to be able to go each and every each and every day, and it actually water is a lot better than drinking, Nos or Monsters or Rock Stars, any of that sugary stuff, because water has no sugar in it. Water is very healthy for us, and I disagree with banning the bottle of water, and I agree, and I debate, and I agree with having the bottled water. That we should be allowed to have the bottled water, no matter if it's a lot of plastic that schools don't want to have. Is that if that's probably the reason why they don't want to allow it, because they feel like there's going to be too many bottled water. But at the end of the day, those schools need to know that recycling is really good for our community. Recycling is good for this world. And having that bottle of water is going to help each and every student out. It's going to help out each and every person in the system, in the school. And it's going to help us function better. It's going to help us be better. It's going to help us be able to understand more. And it's going to be able to help us get through the day. Because honestly, without water, we can't really get through the day. I'd rather be hydrated than dehydrated. I'd rather have something that's gonna hydrate me each and every day, instead of having me something that's not gonna hydrate me, and I'm gonna be feeling tired each and every day because I'm dehydrated. So obviously, bottle of water in schools and just anywhere in general is a good sign. Like, many people ban it because they see it as a weapon. They see it like you're going to be throwing it at a teacher, you're going to be throwing it at somebody in general. But I disagree with all that. I agree with water is a good source to have in our schools, better than drinking faucet waters, better than waiting in a line just to go drink some water. I think bottled water is a good source for our schools, for a good sources in our work area, for a good source in our environment, and good source in everywhere we go. And we shouldn't be able to put up with people telling us like, hey, you can't bring in that, or hey, you can't drink that here. It's like, it's my water. It's just water. I'm gonna drink it. Just because I don't want to buy what you're selling doesn't mean you can't tell me that I can't drink my water. I'm like, look, your water is what, $2.50. I got my water for like $1. That saves me $1.50. But I'm gonna drink my water. Why does it matter that you want me to buy your water from an event where I can just bring my own water? Honestly, I don't think that it should even matter. Honestly, in many point of views, as you keep going further, I think it should matter, because you never know. Maybe somebody was like, hey, I have a bottle of water, but at the end, they don't have a bottle of water. They have like a bottle of champagne, a beer bottle, or they have like a bottle of UV8, which I've never drank in my life, and I don't ever plan on it, because obviously that's bad, because I'm Christian, and I don't believe in any of that. But my point of view on this is, I agree with we should be able to be allowed to have water in any resource, in any place, in any environment, and it's really good for each and every one of us. And if people, there's going to be people that's going to disagree with me, or there's going to be people that agree with me, but we should also know on the water that we're drinking as well, especially if we're drinking tap water from the faucets. We should know what is in that water. We should know if there are parasites coming out, like I said in the beginning. But I want to be able just to tell you on what I think, and what my research showed me, and what I thought of my research, and what made me want to agree with it, and what made me want to disagree with it, and what was the policy behind all of it, and why I debated against it. And obviously my answer was that I do agree we should be able to be allowed to have bottled water. I think we should be able to be allowed to have apple juice, orange juice, and Gatorades. There's nothing wrong with any of that at all, but I don't think we should be able to be allowed to have Monsters or Nos or anything like that. Why? Because it gets us really hectic and crazy, and really gets us sugared up. But at the end of the day, there's people that drink coffee and it gets them hyper, but that's a really different story. But I disagree with banning the water and just banning fluids in general. And obviously, if people see this, I want people to know that just be careful what you put in your water, because if you think like, oh, like nobody's gonna know that I'm drinking alcohol, or nobody's gonna know that I'm drinking something I shouldn't be drinking instead of water, just remember that, in future references, there'll be a day where you get caught, or there'll be a day where they'll ban what you have, and obviously you're going to want to go on a strike and debate about it. But I leave you with all this, and I hope the information that I covered kind of made you understand and helped you out on knowing the differences between, I mean, the debate against why banning the water and why not banning it, agree with as I chose and I agree with keeping the water, keep letting people bring their own water bottles, as that is my answer and that is my choice because, I explained why, and it's a good source for our environment, it's a good source for everybody, and I just want you to stay healthy, stay hydrated. I don't want you to be dehydrated, and I want you to be a person that's, always motivated and impacted, and, always drinking water and forgetting about all the sugary, and just drink water because water is really good for you. And just remember one thing: if you're drinking from the faucet, just remember what kind of water you're drinking. Because at the end of the day, I mean, water is water, like people say, but is that water really helping you? Is that water really functioning right when you can be drinking a purified, like Aquafina, or a purified just drinking water plain, which is really good for you? I drink 6 to 8 bottles maybe a day. I love water. I love the taste. I love cold water. I don't really like hot water, but I just wanted to share what I think, and and I wanted to share my high school days and why I didn't agree with why they kind of were strict about us not being able to have bottles in our class, and why we should and why we shouldn't. And this debate obviously came out with you victoriously, as I agree that we should have bottled water in our school. And yeah, I leave you with that, and I hope you learned something from this class and instructor, Mr. Adrian. And I hope everything came out well with this policy speech. Hopefully, if anybody has any questions, or obviously there's nobody in the room, but I just want to say I learned a lot from this speech, and I learned a lot from this class in general and this policy speech, which, obviously the debate ended and it won, as I agreed with, we should have water because we should. And I hope the information I provided kind of helped you guys out, helped you out, and made you understand, the reasoning and the purposes, as, water is a purpose and a source in our lives, and it always should be. And I leave you with that speech, and that'd be it. Thank you.